Today I wanted to teach how to can green beans. The first thing you have to do is, of course, either get them from a store or your local gardener or grow them yourself. These are actually what are called bush beans, so they grow on a bush. I don't have to set up poles for them, so I like this better. And they come, pretty long, about like this, and you do what's called snapping them. You take one side and you unstring it, because all beans have strings, most beans do at least. And then you take the other side and you unstring it, and then you snap it in half. If I had one to show you, I've already snapped them all, I think. Oh, wait, here's one. Nope, that's the end of one. Okay, so that gives you an idea. I snap off the ends, and it usually has a string attached to it. See there? And then I pull, and it takes the string off the side. Then the other end I snap off, and it has a string that pulls all the way off like that. And then I snap them in half to bite size. So I'm going to show how to can. One thing I want to do first is just go over everything I have. So I've got all the beans. I have some lids with bands. These are called bands. You're going to need these, and you're going to need new ones. If we get to a point in the supply chain issue where we don't have enough lids, can you turn that off, please? Then I have tried to, and been somewhat successful in just boiling the lids really well and making the rubber part of them soft underneath, which I'll show you. Let's see if I can show you that really quick. So this part becomes very soft, and you want it so it's pliable. When you can first, you make it just hot. But if you're having to redo and redo and redo, and ones that have been used, you can try reusing ones that have been used. It can be dangerous, so you need to be very, very careful, especially dealing with beans, because you can get botulism. So you just be very, very careful. Make sure that seal is on very, very well. I don't recommend that at all. I only recommend new lids. Bands you can use over and over again, but lids must be new, unless you get to a very, very desperate situation. Okay, so we've got bands and lids. I have this book, the Ball Blue Book of Preserving. I use it. This is my go-to. I happen to have two. A different one that has freezing in it as well. When you're canning green beans, you cannot just put them in a water bath. You have to use the pressure canner. See there? It's going to have, it tells how much pressure is in it, pounds of pressure. And I'll show you how to use that here in a little bit. All of my jars, which I'm using pints right now because we're low on quarts. We're using pints to can. So those all have to be heated up before and clean, sterile and clean. So they've been sitting in this bath, and I'll be putting the lids in here in a minute. And then you have to have boiling water. You have to have boiling water for green beans and salt. You're going to need some salt. So all of our quarts are used for honey right now because my husband is a beekeeper. So we use quarts, and there's a supply chain issue with those too. So we're having to just be careful. But anyway, this is the start. These are all the things you're going to need. You're going to need this. This helps pick up the jars so that your hands, obviously, you're going to get burned if you don't be careful. This is used as a funnel to put the beans into the jars because the jars are hot. There's one more tool that is a magnet and has a handle on it, and it gets, I don't have it out, but it gets these lids out of the water bath because they're going to be needed to get heated up. And then I'll teach you the second step here in just a few minutes. Okay, then you want to empty all the jars of the water. And see, we've placed the lids in there. So we're doing this. And then what I didn't show you was you're going to need this tool. And this you put, I'll show you, but you put over here like this when you have beans in there and there's water and you want to get all the air bubbles out. Now this side is your height for 1 inch, 1/2 inch, that kind of thing. So that's very good. And then this thing is probably the most valuable of all. It picks up your bands and your lids. Sometimes I have all of the lids in there. I'm going to throw the bands in just a few minutes because now we have space. But you're going to use this thing right here is called a water bath, and you're going to need one of those in your supply. You can use that when you're making stuff with fruit or jams, anything with high acidity, tomatoes. But things that don't have high acidity, like green beans, you must pressure can. Corn, potatoes, onions, squash, even meat. It all has to be pressure canned. So, okay, I'll show you what we're going to do here in a minute. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill these with, this is called dry packing. I've already washed them. So we're going to fill each of these jars with these beans, and I'll show you. So what you do is you take your funnel, which fits in here, and you're going to just take your washed beans and fill them in. If you shake it around, it settles in these beans. See there? And I just pack them in as tight as I can. It says to give it an inch head space, so we're going to stop about right there. And then on top of here, unless you're doing no salt, they say to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt for each pint, but a full teaspoon for each quart. So since we're doing pints today, we're just doing a 1/2 teaspoon. And then you're going to do that until all your beans are filled. See how I overflow a little and then I just shake. There you go. And see, it pushes down real nice. Put a few more in there. And you do that until all of them, well, all of this is gone. And then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of salt. And you just keep doing that. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I just found in here one that I hadn't snapped. So it kind of went through the cracks here. So this is a perfect opportunity. What you do is you can snap it with your hand, which is fine. I just can't feel my fingers really well. So I just take half of it. There's not much string on this one. The other, not half. The tip of it, and then you take the other tip, and see there was a little string that came with that. And then if it were longer, you would, snap it in half, and that's all you do. So I just wanted to show you how to do that. Let's see. No, it's not another one. But okay. we'll get back to canning. Okay, so this one is not completely full, obviously. So what we're gonna do, and you can tell we've used it before, you can use your jars over and over again, as long as they're sterilized and clean and all that. And there's no chips. Always make sure that there's no chips on the rim or anywhere on it, because they'll bust in the canner. Okay, so what you do is you get hot water, your boiling water here, and you are going to fill your jars with hot boiling water to the 1 inch mark. So do you see that? It's right below the rim there. Got it? Okay, I'm gonna do another one. You seeing all that? Almost, there we go. Okay, so there's another one right there. And I'll do one more. And I'll finish off camera. And then I'll show you the next step of what to do. So that one is good. Okay, and we'll finish the rest and we'll get back with you. Okay, so we're getting ready to put the jars in the pressure canner, but you have to put water in your pressure canner or it has nothing to pressure, right? You gotta have water in there, some kind of liquid. What I have found with canning over the years is if you do not add a little bit of vinegar, which I just keep mine in here, just white, plain old cheap vinegar. If you don't add a little bit of vinegar, so I add just a couple, I don't know, tablespoons. It doesn't matter too much. If you don't add that, you're gonna get a white film around here. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, it doesn't look pretty. So you want your stuff to look good. You need to look at the directions on your pressure canner to see how full you need to be. But as you can see with mine, it's the same height every single time. I mean, that's all I really do with this is can. You're gonna have different levels. You're gonna have different notches that are felt here. But when you're canning, it's just the last one. Now, what you're gonna do is you need to get a paper towel of some sort, and you're going to dry off the top here. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna dry off each one of these. Actually, I should show you this. Remember this? This is what I was showing you when you take you go in between the beans and the jar, and that takes out all of the air bubbles. You want those out, and it kind of settles things in there as well. This one's a little full of water, so I'm going to take just a little bit out. But you see those bubbles that come out? So you don't want any bubbles on the side, and you'll do that with everything you can. This thing is very, very handy. You can get canning kits. I've seen at Walmart. I'm sure Target has them. You know, different places are going to have them. So let's take a little bit of water out of this one, because we need to make sure we don't overdo it or it might not seal correctly. Okay, so everything should be good. All right, so we're gonna get you take your magnet, and these are in hot water. They've been sitting in hot water for a little while. So you're gonna take this, and the reason why you're wiping off is just to make sure that there's no salt on the edge, no grease on the edge. When you're doing, or even sugar, when you're canning jams and things like that, you're gonna need to put vinegar on this, because that's really the only thing that's gonna cut through the sugar of jams. Okay, and then this is your band. Ouchie. Okay, so you're going to and you just do enough to tighten it by hand. You know, don't really tighten it, just, you know, tighten it. Close. Okay, and then you're going to put it in here, and you're just going to add over and over again until all of your jars are in there. Remember, we have salt on the top of each one. Once we put the water in, of course, all the salt fell through to the bottom. And you'll just keep adding on until they're all in there. And then I'll show you what to do in a minute. Okay, so if you can see, I don't know, but there's a little V right there. It's like an arrow. It says close and open. Your pressure canner, it's all going to be different, but you're going to need to know where that is. And that's how you open and close it, because we have these notches here to make sure it, you know, stays locked. Also, this is very, 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 very important. It's loose, and so you're going to have to keep track of it. I always either put it on here or I put it in the same place in a drawer. Here is your pounds, pressure pound. So you want that. Make sure this is in place because this is your safety. This will also, when it gets to, starts pressurizing, this will pop up like that. Now you'll know that it's safe to open it when this goes down, okay? Okay, so here we go. So what you're gonna do is you're going to take this V and you're going to, see how we have our jars in here, right? Okay, so I'm gonna match up the V to that V. Oh, also, this ring must be intact. Okay, whoops, I just dropped my thing. Okay, where did I drop it? Here it is. Okay, so you leave it off for right now because I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so then you slide it. So now it's on. It's not coming off. This is not coming off. It's on good. Make sure the seal is good. You're going to leave this off for now. When it comes to pressure, I'm going to be putting this on to keep the pressure in. But it'll start shooting out steam of air, steam water. And when you see steam coming out, a lot of steam coming out, that's when you put this on and it starts pressurizing and this dial starts moving up. And for beans and a lot of things, you're going to want about 10 pounds of pressure. All right, and I'll show you what to do. We're going to take it out to, I have a burner outside so it doesn't heat up the house. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so what you're going to do, this is our system outside. You're going to have your own system. I have heard that stovetops that are flat, it is not good to do it on that, so you really need to find out from your manufacturer. Stoves that have the coil, I've heard, are fine to use. It'll just heat up your house. We don't have that. We only have a flat top. We have the dogs out here, but they do steer clear of the heat, obviously, so they're always walking around. They're curious to see what's going on, but they're walking around. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on. And then this turns on. Hear it? Okay, here we go. Okay, so what it's going to do, I'm going to turn it around so I can see it from the inside, keeping it in place. We're going to take this off, remember, and we're going to wait until the water inside boils. And it's going to start, the steam is going to come through here, and when it comes through here, let me get him out here. When it comes through here, big, big, strong, and no breaks in between, that's when you put this on. So we'll be watching for this. And I'm gonna, the dogs are fine. Okay, very good. Okay, so you probably can see, I hope you can see the steam coming up from that area. See there? It's coming up pretty strong. And also, as you can see, there's no pounds of pressure there yet. It's waiting for me to put this on there, okay? Also, this has not popped up yet, but it won't do that until I seal that. Now, when you put this on, it's going to be loose, it's going to rattle, and that's fine. It's been weighted for that, so it's fine. Be very, 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 very careful as you put this on. So here we go. Okay, there you go. Now, there it popped up. There. And now this is going to start in. It's going to start raising up, and it's going to it needs to get to there, to 10. And once it gets to 10, then I'm going to adjust the amount of heat coming out and take it to a low instead of high heat. And then, so as soon as it gets to 10, I'll show you and show you what to do. Sweet boy. He's keeping his distance. He knows because it's hot, that thing. He's already hot in the 90-degree temperature, but you'll find when you're canning, it's going to be hot. So it's better to heat up the outside instead of the inside. Okay, we're getting to the 10-pound mark. So, and what we're going to do is you have to keep it at 10 pounds for 20 minutes for pints, which is what we have, and quarts is 25 minutes, I believe. Okay, so we're around at 8. Getting up. See how that dial's moving? Now, where it says caution, see there on yours is going to have that too. This thing really doesn't move too much until it gets to that point, like 15, 20. It gets kind of wobbly, and that's your alert, like, okay, you're a little too high. You need to kind of back her off. Okay, so we're getting to the 10, and you do not want to go below what it requires, which is 10 pounds of pressure. Green beans require that. They all require different poundage. Most vegetables actually are around this. But you can go above, but you cannot go below, and that's when you start your timer. Okay, we've hit the 10-pound mark. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let it go a little high on there. Not too much. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and start turning it down. Okay, that's going to keep it there. If you see that notch going down, then you adjust. Right? Okay, it might be too much though. Put a little bit more on there because you want to keep it right around there, and then you'll find a happy spot and keep it there for about 20 minutes. 25 for quarts. Okay, so we're done now, and I'm going to, I always turn this off first. So turn this off first, that way I don't forget. And then eventually the line will empty out, and then turn off, and then we can turn this off. I heard it. Oops, sorry. There we go. And we're going to bring it inside. Okay, so if you can do that. Oh, here, open this door. Stay. Hot. Okay. Thank you, honey. Okay, so we're now here. And keep in mind, I've got it on a cutting board, and also a towel. Okay, this is still going, right? This will only fly off, and it's done it one time to me, and that was actually inside this house, believe it or not. If it gets so high that it has to release pressure, somehow this stays intact. It doesn't fly off. But anyway, this stays on. You keep this on until this goes down. Now once that goes down, then you can take this off and you can open up the whole thing. Remember, you turn it to the left or right, and it's going to be super hot. You're going to see the cans inside, they're going to be boiling, but I'll show you that here in a little bit. And then you'll just let them cool down. Of course, you'll start hearing the pop of the lids. And if you don't hear that pop and they don't seal down, it is not a good seal. And you either need to eat those tonight or keep them in your fridge for a couple days. But I'll show you all that in a minute. Okay, so the safety valve is down, or saying that there's pressure in it. So there's no pressure in there right now, so it is safe to take it off. We can take this off. There's no pressure, so everything's good. It's now safe to take these out. So it's going to be very hot. You always open away from you. Okay, like that. Okay, I'm going to put this over here. Okay, now you'll need this. Your tongs, or whatever they're called, canning tongs. All right, and these all look really good. Can you come show right here, hon? See how good they look? They're ready to go. So you're just gonna take the excess water, and you're gonna put them over here to the side. You can see they're boiling a little. See there? Glasses are fine now. All right. They're looking good. We're going to start hearing them pop here soon. But your process is done. What you have to make sure of is that all of the lids are down. I'll show you. So like right here, you can see they're kind of going like this. I don't know if it's convex or concave, I can't remember. Anyway, it goes like this, but you're gonna start, as soon as they start cooling, and that's why I brought it in, because I mean it's 91 degrees outside, so it's gonna take a lot longer to take the pressure down. Here it's much cooler. So soon these are going to be sealed down. See, you can kind of hear the hollowness, but when they go down, you're not going to hear any of that, and you're going to see, you're not going to be able to push at all. There's going to be no pressure. It's going to be solid on there. So that's what you're looking for. And if it is not, and you can go, boop, 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 you know, you can push this down. The seal is not good. You can't redo the lids. You're just going to have to use it either in dinner tonight or within the next 2 or 3 days. But just keep it in your fridge. Make sure you keep it in your fridge. Otherwise, if they're sealed like this, they're good for a year, 2. I don't know. I mean, some have been, I think my mom did like 3 or 4 years with some. We just kept moving the jars, you know. But anyway, that's how you do it. And I might do a final, just to show you what it looks like once they are sealed, and that you cannot push down on them. Make sure about that, because if you store them and they're not sealed, you're going to face, I mean, it can be deadly. So it's botulism, and you don't want that. All right, well, congratulations. I hope it works out.